Welcome back to Mortgage Story. My name is Scott Stavis, and I've been a mortgage broker for over 20 years and have funded deals across a wide range of loan products and credit profiles. In today's episode, we will touch on the important differences between a mortgage broker and a bank, and why a broker wins every time in the eyes of not only homebuyers, but realtors as well. Let's get into it. Think about this question for a second. Would you rather have one lender fighting for your loan or 100? If you've ever wondered why your neighbor closed on their house purchase in 10 days flat, while your local bank took 6 weeks and still said no, stick around. Today, I'm laying out exactly what separates a mortgage broker from a bank and why more home buyers and more investors are quietly making the switch. Over the course of today's episode, I am going to give you the honest, inside view of how these two lending paths compare when it comes to 5 key principles of lending. At first, we will touch on a broker's access to the full spectrum of lending, followed by why speed wins in our industry, our on-the-fly flexibility, who's actually on your team, and finally, the investor's edge when using a broker. Here's the part most people don't realize. When you walk into a bank, that loan officer can only offer you what's on that individual bank's menu. One set of guidelines, one set of rates, one set of programs. If your file doesn't fit their box or if their pricing isn't good, you're out of luck there, full stop. A broker, on the other hand, isn't tied to one shelf of products. We're licensed to work with dozens of wholesale lenders, sometimes over 100, covering the full spectrum of lending, from conventional to FHA, VA, USDA, jumbo, non-QM, bank statement loans, you name it. That means instead of you fitting the bank, we find the lender that fits you. More lenders in the mix means more approval paths, more competitive pricing, and more loan products actually built for your situation, not a generic one-size-fits-all approach. Next up is our technology, and trust me when I say that speed wins in this industry. In a competitive buyer's market, speed decides who gets the contract and ultimately moves into the house. Brokers today run on modern, connected technology. For example, pricing engines that scan dozens of lenders' rates in seconds, digital docs you upload, e-sign, and track from your phone, and automated underwriting that gets you a faster approval with fewer delays. Big banks are often working through obsolete legacy systems, layers of internal departments, and processes that just weren't built to move quickly. When speed decides who gets the house, that gap matters, and banks are stuck in the Stone Ages. Here's why that actually matters to you. Brokers can often close a purchase transaction in about half the time it takes a bank. And as I mentioned earlier, in a competitive bidding situation, that's a massive edge. A faster closing timeline makes your offer more attractive to a seller, which is exactly why realtors love working with buyers who use a broker. After all, shorter closing window can be the difference between winning the contract and losing it to another buyer. Have a look here at this slide, as this is another factor that really separates the two. Deals in our industry hit snags. It is an unfortunate reality. For example, an appraisal can come in low. A lender adds additional criteria to their guidelines. A rate lock issue pops up. It happens. When I run into something similar with a client, I can pivot to a different lender in our network almost immediately and use the same file, the same documents, no starting over. We keep the transaction moving and protect your closing date. Now go directly to a bank, and if that loan gets denied, you're not switching lenders inside the same relationship. You're starting completely over. A new application, a new appraisal in most cases, a new timeline. And if your purchase contract has a hard closing deadline, that delay can put your contract and your earnest money deposit at risk. Let's shift gears now into talking about who is actually on your team. A bank loan officer's job is to sell that bank's products. And that's not a knock on them. That's literally the role. A broker's job is different. We match you with the lender and the loan that actually fits your goals, your credit, your income, and your timeline. And you keep the same contact person from application through closing on our side. You're not getting bounced between departments or a different rep every time you call in. Are there any real estate investors tuning into this episode? If so, and if you're building a real estate portfolio, the gap gets even bigger between a broker and bank. A lot of investor-friendly loans simply aren't something most retail banks underwrite in-house. For example, DSCR loans based on the property's rental income, bank statement loans for self-employed borrowers, portfolio and bridge loan options. Brokers have relationships with the lenders who specialize in exactly these products. For investors, that access can be the difference between scaling your portfolio and hitting a wall. As we begin wrapping today's episode up, here is a recap that puts a broker and bank side by side. As for loan options, a bank gives you one lender's programs, and a broker gives you dozens of lenders and the full market. When it comes to speed, a bank is often operating on obsolete systems, while a broker runs on a modern, fast tech stack. If a deal hits a snag, a bank sends you back to square one. A broker pivots lenders and pushes forward on the same timeline. On who they work for, a bank loan officer works for the bank, and a broker works for you. And lastly, on investor-specific products, banks rarely offer them, while brokers give you access to DSCR, bridge, non-QM loans, and more. Brokers hold a heavy advantage over local banks, and the gap isn't even close. If you're weighing your options on a home purchase or refinance, let's talk it through. No pressure, no obligation. There's a link to book a free 10 to 15 minute discovery call right below this video. During that quick call, I can put you on a path to help get you into a home and begin building personal wealth. If you found some value in today's episode, I'll kindly ask two things of you to help Mortgage Story grow. Like this video and subscribe to my channel. There's a lot more to come and a lot more to learn. And if you're sitting there thinking, you know what, I think I am ready to make a move, book a free call with me now. The link is in the description. In 10 to 15 minutes, I can look at your actual numbers, tell you exactly which programs you qualify for, and give you a clear, honest path forward. No pressure, no pitch, just real answers about your real situation. So to wrap things up for today, every home has a story, and I'm here to help you write it. So from wherever you are tuning in from across the USA, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. My name is Scott, this is Mortgage Story, and I'll see you in the next one.